The most dangerous control is the one that feels like love. There are kinds of love that don't feel like love anymore. Not because they are cruel, but because one day you realize you are constantly adjusting yourself just to keep the peace. At first, everything feels normal. They care about you, they check on you, they want to know you are okay. They want to be close to you. And it feels safe. But over time, something shifts. You start thinking before you speak, changing how you act, feeling guilty when you need space, feeling uneasy when you are alone. And without noticing, your life starts adjusting around someone else's emotions. Not because they force you, but because you don't want tension. And this is where confusion begins. Nothing they do looks wrong. In fact, each moment alone looks like care. But together, it feels heavy. And you start asking yourself, something must be wrong with me. Control is not always about power. It is often about fear of losing connection. Psychologist John Bowlby showed that love is something we learn, not just choose. He described a secure base. All of us, from the cradle to the grave, are happiest when life is organized as excursions from a secure base. In simple words, we only feel free to explore life when we feel safe that connection won't disappear. But when that safety is unstable, love stops feeling light. It starts feeling fragile, something you must protect. And when love becomes something you protect too much, it slowly turns into control. Control almost never feels like control in the beginning. It feels like care, concern, love, responsibility, protection. And because of that, you don't resist it, you accept it. But slowly something changes inside you. You explain yourself more, avoid conflict, feel guilty choosing yourself, feel tension when you act freely. It makes you start adjusting yourself without noticing. Alfred Adler noticed something simple. When people feel insecure inside, they try to make everything around them feel more certain. Not because they are bad, but because uncertainty is hard to sit with. So instead of staying with that feeling, they move closer. They ask more. By staying closer and needing more reassurance. And slowly, they start shaping the relationship so they can feel calm again. Not through logic, but through emotion. One of the strongest forms of control is guilt. Because guilt doesn't force you, it makes you change yourself from the inside. You start avoiding things that might upset them, saying yes when you want to say no, over-explaining yourself. And slowly, you become the one who keeps the emotional peace. At some point, the question changes. What do I want becomes, what keeps them from being upset? This is where people get stuck. Because this is not a cold relationship. There is care, there is emotion, there is connection. So your mind splits. One part says, they love me. Another part says, why do I feel trapped? And when both are true, you start doubting your own feelings. Maybe I'm too sensitive. Maybe I should be more grateful. Maybe I'm the problem. And that self-doubt keeps people stuck longer than anything else. In healthy love, each person handles their own emotions. But in insecure love, that boundary disappears. You begin to feel responsible for their mood, their anxiety, their sadness, their emotional stability. And without anyone saying it directly, you become the one who keeps the emotional peace. So your behavior is no longer just yours. It becomes something that affects how they feel inside. And that creates pressure you cannot easily explain. There is a paradox here. The more you grow, the more they may feel more insecure. Not because growth is wrong, but because it creates uncertainty. And uncertainty creates fear. So when you become independent, set boundaries, need space, change, they may feel distance and try to close it again. Not always consciously, but emotionally. Many people don't learn healthy love. They learning how to survive in relationships. If love in childhood felt unpredictable, conditional, mixed with guilt, then the mind learns love means holding on tightly. So later in life, they repeat what feels familiar, even when it hurts both people. Erich Fromm explained this clearly. Immature love says, I love you because I need you. Mature love says, I need you because I love you. In immature love, the other person becomes the only place where you feel emotionally safe. You depend on them to feel okay, and that dependence turns into control. In mature love, there is space, there is trust, there is freedom. Some people who control you don't even see it as control. They are trying to hold on because they are afraid to lose you. But love driven by fear will always struggle with freedom. Real love is not supposed to make you smaller. It is not supposed to erase you. It is not supposed to make you constantly adjust yourself just to keep someone else calm. Because real love is not possession. It is not control. It is not fear disguised as care. Real love is the ability to stay connected without disappearing inside the relationship.